Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's podcast. This is episode 5, and I'm doing another, what are they called? Long distance remote. Remote is the word I'm looking for. I am doing another remote episode with my friend Megan, who I went to school with. So I'm actually recording this after we've spoken. Just went back and did a little intro because I've quickly realised there's no point doing the introduction before if I'm going to do a remote one because I get off topic a lot, and so it's better to kind of recap what we do after we've done it than guess what we're going to end up talking about before. Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, I'm doing it again and I'm rambling. So, Megan's on this week. We talked about a lot of things, but we concentrated the most on white feminism and how we can reflect the stories and make sure that we listen to the stories of Black women and people in the feminist movement who aren't purely white because they've already had their voices and their stories heard and everything. And by lifting marginalised voices, we can lift all of us together. We also spoke about our experiences with our school and just kind of people in schools in general and how schools can do a lot more to help marginalised communities, whether that's people of colour, Black people, just or whether that's non-straight people in the LGBTQ plus community. So I also just want to say quickly, I will let you get to the conversation that I had with Megan in just a second, but I just want to say if you are listening to this and you're a bit younger and you may be still in school, or even if you are still in university or later in life, whatever, and you are questioning your sexuality or anything, my Instagram is always free to message. You are always welcome, and as a straight person, I might not be able to help you, but I promise that I can direct you to someone that can help, or I will, help you with resources, or I will just listen to you and let you have your voice. So, having said that, I will now let you listen to me and Megan rant for nearly an hour. So, enjoy that.
Hello.
Whoa.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm a politics and history student at the University of Birmingham, and that's probably the most interesting thing about me, to be honest. But you know how it is.
Such a mood.
Yeah.
When you're in school and then like, tell us one fun fact about yourself, and I'm like, my fun fact is that there's nothing fun about me.
I mean, that's such a quirky thing to say. You're not like other girls.
I'm not like the other girls. I'm unique. I'm educated.
Of course, everybody's unique if they study history.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. That's the least popular degree, isn't it?
Obviously. Have you seen the lecture halls? They're bloody tiny.
I know. Empty. Like one student in there and it's me.
Of course. It's just you, no one else.
Just me. So let's get into it. Is there anything in particular you want to start with?
I think I've been doing research on white feminism. Obviously, when you asked me to be on this and everything. And I've done a lot of research on that anyway because obviously I do be doing a politics degree, so that's just something that falls into kind of like when I'm doing feminist research anyway. And obviously that's a lot more relevant now because of the Black Lives Matter movement and that coming into the focus a lot more now. And I sent you this article, the Guardian article where white women were colonizers too. Which is absolutely very interesting, very important, by Ruby Hamad. And obviously, I think one of the most important things that has come out of Black Lives Matter coming into the forefront at the moment is recognizing, especially for us as white women, recognizing our privilege and recognizing that we need to stop equating our gender oppression with colonialism, and also kind of stop believing that because we're women that we can be that we're exempt from perpetuating classism and racism. Which is something that this article is really good at exemplifying of how our place as white women, we like over the course of history, is being used to weaponized in order to perpetuate racism. I'm not sure how you feel about that coming to the forefront, and like how that's kind of, because it's definitely made me realign and think about my position in how I speak about race and gender. And my place is how I actually need to speak about speak about certain issues with a lot more caution, a lot more clarity, because it's not just something that you can just kind of like, I'm just talking now and that's it. You actually need to really think about your privilege. I'm not sure how that's kind of like impacted on you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, since, everything happened in May George Floyd obviously acted as a huge catalyst in the movement and the protests and everything. And so, I mean, again, another way in which we are both privileged, being at uni and everything, means I have access to the uni library.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been reading some books about it and everything to try and educate myself. I did a course on empire actually with FutureLearn. They were running a free course. They might still have it. And it was all about kind of colonialism and the British Empire in particular, because it was run by Exeter Uni. And it is definitely like, I have to think about a lot of things a lot more now. Obviously, like, I'm happy to be doing it because I don't want to add to that kind of, the systemic racism that has been in our society for so long that we haven't even really realized we've been adding to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really I think I think one of the most interesting things that I saw when all of this was coming around was the idea that just because you read anti-racism doesn't mean that you are anti-racist.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, which is something I feel like a lot of people would kind of be like, well, I am trying my best and everything. Like, what more do you want from me? But like, it's so, because I think somebody equated it to you can read a lot about rock climbing doesn't mean that you're a rock climber, which is true. Just because you kind of like, you can be an educated person and you still can't, you still might not be putting that into action. And I think that call to action is probably the most important thing at the moment, is like allyship isn't just being passive. Allyship is actually active anti-racism, it's active anti-homophobia, it's actively taking accountability for yourself, but also holding the people in your life accountable as well.
Which I've been doing, which is, always a fun conversation, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need to happen.
How's that been?
Oh, it's definitely been something. I'm just trying to, bring it up when I feel that it's relevant and try and show other people around me why it's important, and maybe what they're doing wrong and they don't realize that it is wrong or anything. I don't want to call anyone out, because this is obviously like, I can hold them personally accountable, but I don't think calling them out on a public
on a podcast. Yeah.
I don't believe in cancel culture necessarily, so I'm not going to do that, but like, there have been people that I've spoken to, people that I actually know personally in my family, and then also people that I don't. I mean, I think you might know who I'm talking about, because old school friends. I didn't even know who it was, to be honest, but so I messaged them, and even like, I mean, this was slightly different because they weren't. I know. I think it adds. I think it. I can't. I think it counts. So like, they did the Blackout Tuesday thing in May, June, whenever it was.
The whole you post a black square, that's it. You've done well done, pat on the back. I
know, so not even part of that necessarily, but one of the societies that I was in first year posted a black square, whatever, for Blackout Tuesday, but then they hashtagged All Lives Matter.
What?
Yeah. So I kind of messaged them. I really panicked for a second. And so I messaged them and I was like, I'm assuming that this is ignorance on your part, because I don't think that you would post for Blackout Tuesday if you're part of the All Lives Matter movement. So I just kind of explained to them what All Lives Matter means and how it takes away from the Black Lives Matter movement. I kind of, I used one of the examples I'd seen going around. I think I used the one of like, if you've got 5 kids, 1 plaster, and 1 kid has injured themselves, that's the kid that you're going to give the plaster to. Like, that's by saying that Black Lives Matter, you're saying Black Lives Matter too. Like, they should matter in the same way that we value other lives. Luckily, as soon as I explained it to them, they were like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know what that meant, and they instantly changed it and everything. But I was just like, I'm like, I was ready to message all my friends and be like, we're not being in this society now. Like, this is
absolutely flawed that that came from a university society as well.
I know.
Yeah, and it's all very, because kind of like you're using like the metaphor of kind of like the plaster and everything, but I don't know if I was in that position, I would feel really frustrated that I was having to use that to like an adult at university.
Yeah, I mean, it was annoying. I did this all in one message. It's not like they kind of tried to fight back and then I had to use an analogy. I just thought I'm gonna get it all out
All in one go. Yeah.
and see what they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
God.
part of me, I mean, obviously they're run by students, and part of me was like, I feel like with everything, because this, Blackout Tuesday was still a while into, like, after everything had been going on. So, like, by then you had all these kind of infographic posts and, like, educational tools being posted on Instagram or Facebook and everything of, like, ways you can speak to your family if they're, slightly older and they're not as, like,
if you're in a safe position to do so.
Yeah, so all these things have been going around, so many posts about why all lives matter is so offensive and everything. And so I was like, I'm surprised you haven't seen it, but I'm just going to message you and get you to change this and make sure that you're not agreeing, like, obviously all lives matter, but that's not the point.
Yeah, it's a really good thing they did it. They were really quick to change it as well. It's not like there was anything there. It's not like there was kind of like the kind of virtue signaling of kind of like, oh, but I understand different I understand that different perspectives and everything, and like personally from my personal experience they were just very quick to be like, oh, so shit, sorry, and which is
it very much was like, I think within 2 minutes because I saw the post when it first went up, and then like I sent a message immediately, and then within 2 minutes of that they'd replied and they changed it.
Okay, good. We love to see it.
But yeah, I've definitely been having those kind of conversations where I'm just trying to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
I
think that's really relevant. Sorry.
You go, I was basically done.
I think it's really relevant for you and me as well, considering that we come from such an undiverse area as well. That it's Dorset, how we love you.
I mean, our school must have been 99% white people, right?
Yeah, literally. And the amount of the amount of like dodgy stuff that used to happen at school, and like the management and the management of the school would just completely overlook it is ridiculous. I mean, when do you remember when we had a meeting about like inclusivity in school, and I was like it was like a group of us in sixth form, and I remember I brought up the fact that the school has a really bad racism problem. And it just got really like shoved under the carpet of kind of like, oh yeah, we know, and then that was it and nothing else.
Wait, was I here for this?
Yeah, it was a big meeting with like they'd hired a teacher to be part of like a qualities officer or something, and there was like a big group of us that they asked to kind of like have a meeting about inclusivity in school, and then I feel like it was just a lot of virtue signaling to kind of like be like, oh look, we're doing better, and then nothing happened.
I'm having kind of memories come back of this, and I forgot that this happened.
I remember in that big meeting in the meetings room at the top of the old reception building.
I think so. I was definitely invited. I don't know whether I went in the end.
You were like, maybe not.
Well, I mean, it was the school. Pointless going. They wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, no, and they didn't. It was completely ridiculous. I mean, this is and the fact that the school itself was so incredibly undiverse, and like nothing recognize the fact that we were living in an all majority white area, went to an all majority white school, and that would breed racism. The fact they never ever tackled that is so bad. Like, that is so neglectful. It's ridiculous.
And I think what the thing is though, that like if you went to, obviously I don't want to like name places necessarily either, but like you know what I'm talking about. If you went to the school that was like 10 minutes away from us, the only other secondary school in our area really, even that they had boarding house, so they were so much more diverse than we were, and that's only 10 minutes.
Exactly. And like and the fact that school had a much better pastoral system than ours as well to tackle kind of like issues of racism, homophobia. I mean, like obviously I had personal experiences of homophobia, and did that ever get solved? Absolutely bloody not. Like, no, we shove that under the carpet and pretend that we don't have these systemic issues, obviously, which I think is a big old metaphor for state and society, to be honest. But
well, true. I mean, our school kind of suppressed like well, I don't know. I remember having an assembly in like year 7 when our what were they called? Head of years.
Head of year, yeah.
Head. Yeah, that's it. Couldn't remember. It's clearly been a while since I've been at school.
Such a long time, yeah.
But our year head was like telling, it was kind of one of the first assemblies we had, and he was like, you need to stop using the word gay. Like, you can't describe something as gay. You can't use it as an insult. You can't be like, oh, your pencil case is so gay. And like, it's good that they did that, and they were like, this isn't an insult. But then it was kind of dropped, and I mean, you'll know a lot more about this than I will, but I swear they were kind of like not oppressing, but kind of also oppressing, because didn't they reject a support group for?
Right, let's talk about the support group, baby. Like, oh my god, in the first case of kind of like saying the whole like the assembly in year 7 saying you can't say things are gay and stuff, like the way that they approached that was a complete stigmatization of LGBT language. And oh baby, the support group. I mean, so let's start from the beginning in terms of like to clarify, I'm a bisexual woman, so teehee. And
are you doing I mean, we obviously can't see you. I can't see you, but are you doing the
Am I doing the peace signs? Yeah. I am indeed doing the peace signs. And my jeans are cuffed as well, so I'm living the life. But my brother and one of our friends at the time, the friend actually being, he was a head boy, and he started this LGBT support group, and the primary thing of it is that there were no LGBT spaces around us at all. We live in a very remote area, and we all felt it'd be great if there was just a space in school where, especially for younger students who were struggling with their sexuality or needed guidance and support from older students, from sixth formers, we just felt like a space for that would be really positive. That was shut down as soon as it was even mentioned by the headmistress at the time. She's retired now, but she originally claims that something like that would encourage younger students to be gay, which is very taboo, obviously.
Well, it's a choice. You choose to be gay.
Obviously, of course you choose to be gay. Yeah. That's bloody ridiculous. But so then I think the friend, the head boy, he like spoke to us, and then we all just started meeting up in secret with other people that we know wanted to start the group. And it was about a year. It took a year of actually like having consistent secret meetings of the support group for it actually to get legitimized in the end, which is ridiculous because it was 2018 at the time, and the fact that we had to meet up in secret, even just to have a single space where we could just talk about being queer, is absolutely beyond me. And then my brother and that friend both left, so then it was just me, and I kept it going and everything, but it just the sheer lack of support that was from kind of the management of that school in supporting me running this support group was basically null and void, because it was just basically something. Once the head took over, what happened was that I got pulled aside once by him to say, thank you for what you're doing, we really appreciate it, and so we support you. And that was about it, really. There was nothing put in place to say, like, for me to start thinking about talking with teachers about like the way that they perhaps talk about sexual education, or perhaps about like the way in which teachers approach people, like kids when they come out as trans and stuff like that. There was nothing like that. It was just a quick thank you, and that was it, just to kind of like get on the good cards. There was nothing put in place to ever support LGBT students. And I think primary example of that, for me especially, is the fact that I experienced homophobia. I experienced people calling me a queer little bitch. I've been called a fag, and when I brought it up, it was kind of a case of it was kind of a case of, oh, that is very bad, and we'll speak to them and we'll try and tell them, we'll try and say that that was a bad thing that they did, and then it's like, be in a room together and apologize and give it a hug out, and it's all good, and then try and be friends with the person that was really homophobic to you, which is ridiculous. There was nothing ever in place to kind of recognize that that's a systematic form of hate speech. So
yeah, and when you consider the fact, like, our school wasn't like lax when it came to behavior and stuff. Like, they were pretty on it. If you said anything remotely like disrespectful or anything to a teacher, you'd be straight in detention, guidance on a log, like, might be suspended. Like, even if you just didn't wear your uniform properly, you would end up getting, like, quite quickly, you'd be pulled up on it, and you would get, like, you'd get in detention, you'd get on a log for it, so you'd have to have people constantly monitoring how you're wearing your uniform. And then there is this legitimate, like, hate speech that's going on, and then they just don't treat that.
They don't take it seriously. And it's really for queer kids, it's really demoralizing, because you can tell that you're being it's really difficult to kind of like know that it's not only like your bullies, like the people who are bullying you, people who are saying stuff that are systematically tearing down your self-confidence, but to know that a whole kind of group of adults who are meant to be supporting you also are delegitimizing your experience as well. It's not great. So and obviously, like, queer feminism is has been around for years and years and years, but I really feel like it needs to come more into the mainstream in schools for there to be any kind of like real change to actually start making LGBT students feel safe, and feel safe in their own spaces. So that's my opinion. But
No, for sure, I fully agree. And like, it's just made me think of as well, like, this has just come into my head. So a few weeks ago on the podcast, I was speaking to a friend about our experience in sex education. And to be honest, like, since leaving school, my biggest memory of sex education has been, I can't remember if it was when we were in year 11 or in sixth form, but we were together, so I'm thinking it must have been at the very end of year 11. They pulled us in,
probably at the end,
they were redesigning their sex education, and it, like, it was a lot better than before. They were actually talking about, like, porn and the unrealistic standards that come with that, and just body image and photoshopping and everything in general. But I remember they did talk about, like, the physical act of having sex at one point or something, and they were talking about how to be safe. I mean, they always did that because they didn't want us to get pregnant or catch anything.
Of course. And
I just remember you sitting there, and I feel like you might have even asked the teacher, which was such a move. And you just went, what about lesbian sex though?
Oh my god, I do remember that. Oh yes, because I remember we were sitting right at the back of a science class, and I remember asking you, I was like, oh, should I ask? And you were like, yeah, why not?
Well, I mean, it's a legit question. They need to teach everyone how to be safe.
Yeah, I remember she straight up just said, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? You're the sex ed teacher.
I know, like, it's one thing maybe, like, for me or something to turn around and be like, oh, I don't know, because again, I have that privilege that I've never had to consider it. But if you're supposed to be educating people on how to have safe sex, you should have explored every avenue, and you should it's not like it's a massively obscure question that it's like, oh, I don't actually know. It's something that you should have thought about, and they need better sex education for that as well.
PSA for anybody who's listening who it does want to know about, like, safe lesbian sex and everything. Dental dams and asking is usually the best way to go. So it's and the fact that I had to give myself sex education for queer stuff is ridiculous, because what if people aren't be able to access that? What if people aren't in a safe position to access that? That's where the schooling system should come in, and it is not designed to be helpful for anybody that isn't cisgendered and straight.
No, absolutely. If you don't mind me asking, how did you find out? Did you just have to Google it, or just, like, ask other people?
I think it was a case of Google was useful. I mean, what's really useful for me, like, and I'm very privileged to have this, is my parents are really supportive. So I did, and my mum used to be a nurse, so I just asked my mum. And
your mum's a legend, by the way.
My mum is such a legend, and but like Google, there's websites which are set up specifically for sex education for queer people. I think the most difficult thing for me though is in terms of like sex ed and sexuality is that I fall onto the asexual spectrum. So I consider myself demisexual, and feeling like I was broken for such a long time for not experiencing sexual attraction in the way that in the way that other people do. And it wasn't until uni that I was completely comfortable with that. So to just have if asexuality was included in sex education, if there was something about how you don't have to experience sexual attraction in the same way that other people do, that would have been that would have cleared up so much stuff for me. That would have made everything so much easier. But yet there's nothing absolutely piss all about asexuality or about the spectrum of experience of sexual attraction, which again is another frustrating thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm guessing, I mean, I know it was a while ago now, but I'm guessing I first heard like the term asexual and kind of what it was from you. But other than that, like it's all just been videos I've come across on YouTube, and that's the only way that I've ever really learned about it. Which,
yeah,
like, I feel like schools, especially, like other places too, but especially schools, are kind of just coming to the terms with the fact that they've kind of came to the fact a while ago that you might be gay or lesbian. They're kind of just coming to the term that you can be bi.
Yeah. They're coming. I mean, they're about 20 years behind.
Oh, they're so far behind.
Yeah. Bisexuality. What's that? Can you imagine?
No, you must just be saying that you like both because you don't want to be completely gay yet.
Yeah. No. I'm obviously I'm lying, and it's all a phase, clearly. Oh my God, that sets me back to like the term, oh, it's just a phase, really sets me back to like year 10 coming out. Let's go, baby.
Did people say that to you?
Yeah, I'd like quite a bit actually, because do you remember when I came out? Like because I didn't feel like I came out in like a big way. It was just like a really slow, casual thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, to me at least, you just mid conversation. You're like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, no, by the way, yeah, no, because I remember at the time, like when I was starting to come out and everything, I had like long hair and stuff, and I was a bit more meek and everything. So people were like, "Oh, phase," because I wasn't presenting in kind of like I don't know, bisexuality is obviously like very hypersexualized, and because I wasn't presenting in a particular way, I genuinely think that people think I was just faking it. So
that's so frustrating in so many ways, because like, first of all, anyway, year 10's only like you're 14, 15, so no one is like their true self. As in, like, the way that you look and everything, like you're never gonna look the way that you feel most comfortable when you're 14, 15, because you're not grown yet. So much changes in that kind of year, even in itself, when you're that age, that like the way that you express yourself isn't necessarily you. But also just the fact that like the idea that you have to look a certain way to fit into like the internal and the external don't have to match at all. How you feel is how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. And being 14 is just not a vibe anyway, let alone being 14 and having loads of people invalidate your experiences. What a world. I mean, and especially kind of like if you're a bisexual woman, or if you're a queer woman in general, the most invalidation that I experienced when we were in school was from other women, because it's not trendy, it's not cool to like to have like a queer woman friend. It's, you want the gay best friend, don't you? You want a little handbag that you can carry around with you, and tell you what clothes to wear and stuff like that. It's and I feel like that was definitely one of the most difficult things, was experiencing kind of adversity from other women, because women should be lifting each other up and everything and blah 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 blah, but I feel like it's definitely an issue with straight women, that they are disgusted by queer women. They feel uncomfortable around queer women, and that's homophobia, baby, but they don't want to admit it.
That's homophobia, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the irony there is that, like, definitely in our school and in our kind of area is like, oh no, you can't be gay, but you have to kiss girls at, like, you know, I'm straight, but I'll kiss girls at a party when I'm drunk, tee, but being gay is disgusting.
Yeah. Also, I've never understood. I mean, maybe it's just because I am bi, but like, kissing a woman is gay, Bethany. I don't know, but like, I don't,
I know.
and yeah, and yeah, no, like it's absolutely ridiculous. That there's such and like the whole I'm gonna go to Pride and that like I want to go and be with the gays and everything, but if a woman looks at me, I'm gonna throat punch her. Like what?
I know. It's honestly like, it makes me like upset and annoyed to hear, you know, like,
Yeah,
because I've always been your friend. Like I was your friend before you came out, and then you came out, and my response was literally, okay, that's cool. Like,
yeah. Because there's no
like,
other response. There's no other response. Like, because it's like, okay, because it's not about the person. Like, if somebody's coming out to you, it's not about you. So yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, you came up to me as part, like, we were having a conversation where I was kind of saying, like, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it's the same as if you just turn around and went, like, I'm 5'5", and then I'm like, okay, that doesn't, like, in no way does that change. It's just a fact about you that you can't change, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, it, you know, whatever. But then you just went, okay, I'm bi, and I was like, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's I'm really lucky that it didn't have to be a big thing for me. Which is really great, because for other people it is a case of kind of like they are put in danger when they have to come out. Especially for people who are in abusive households and people, and so I am really I mean it's really lucky that I could just have that conversation with you and just be like, oh, I'm bi, and we're like moving on anyway. So you know, this is why feminism needs to reach out to its marginalized groups more often than it has in the past, so that we can actually start uplifting and supporting other marginalized groups that we've necessarily ignored for such a long period in history, because we owe a lot to feminism owes a lot to marginalized groups, in terms of how it's been configured, how activism has been configured, all of history really. It's the same, like the queer community owes everything to Black trans women, and to be ignorant of that purposefully in order to have a kind of blanket narrative for your feminism and for your women's rights movement is completely neglectful and harmful. So yeah, to basically be an intersectional feminist is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I am straight, cis, white, whatever. You know, very, you know, I'm very privileged in almost every way other than being a woman, and financially I am privileged, but even financially I'm still at uni. I still have that privilege to be in education still. And I'm, you know, I do try. I hope, I mean, like I kind of say in the first episode, you know, I'm not saying that I'm going to be perfect, but I would rather try and make a mistake and then learn from it and correct myself than not try at all.
Yeah, and the most important thing for like us as like privileged feminists is that we listen and that we learn, and like that's the most important thing that we can do.
Yes.
And I'm really glad that that's where we're moving towards in terms of like the major feminist movement, is that people are starting to sit down and listen and be active in that listening, which is a really positive movement in terms of where we're going with mainstream feminism now.
Yeah, for sure. I just, like, you know, the story of the white feminist has been told, the white straight feminist, over and over again by now. And it's not perfect. We're still not there. There's still a lot of work to go. But at the same time, we've been pushing down these stories of other people, of people in the LGBTQ plus community, of Black people and people of other races that are non-white. And, you know, we're never gonna, I saw this speech by Emma Watson, and I think she said something else, but I think it kind of rings true in this aspect as well. She was kind of saying about, because I mean, Emma Watson's great.
Yeah.
She was kind of saying about how it's something we spoke about in the podcast as well. Like, men should be allowed to feel their feelings, and they're allowed to be emotional, and toxic masculinity and all of that kind of thing. And they said, it should be something that we're working on, and by working on it, we're going to help bring women forward as well. And I think it's the same kind of thing. Like, yeah, sure, feminism for everyone still has a long way to go to bring us up to equality, but if we focus on these marginalized communities and we help them, it's only going to further the movement for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it definitely ties into the idea of kind of like, if the only time that you're talking about men or slash the only time that you talk about white feminism, whatever, is when you're using it as a way to downtrod marginalized voices. You don't actually give a fuck about those marginalized voices.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really, really great a piece of work by Angela Davis, which is called Women, Race and Class. And that's about how mainstream feminist movements has been marred by racism and classism. So if anybody wants to read that, you definitely should. I have a PDF file of it, so hit me up if you want it. My email is my email is com. But so, and God, where was I going with that? Uplifting marginalized voices is one of the most important things that we are doing within mainstream feminism at the moment, and I'm really glad that's where we're moving towards. And yeah, no, stuff like this, where kind of like we're talking very openly about it, rather than kind of, because I feel like it's been an undercurrent with mainstream feminism about talking about marginalized voices and about marginalized communities and their struggles and everything, to kind of like to talk about it in a very euphemistic way, and to kind of be like, oh, it happens, but we can't talk about it. We can't, because otherwise that's giving too much leverage to the actual marginalized groups who need it. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about Ellen as I speak about this. Like the Ellen. Yeah.
Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
Oh, Ellen. That's a whole other thing at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that she is the poster woman for like not taking accountability for your actions at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I'm not sure how like what do you think about Ellen?
I mean, I saw this, but I'll see if I can find it, because I'm pretty sure I sent it to a friend of mine. But I also did, like, whilst I find it, Drew Gooden posted a video.
Oh, I just watched that. Fantastic video.
It was a very good video. If I remember, I'm going to put a lot of the things that we've spoken about kind of in like the show notes. So if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you're anywhere else, you can go to Anchor, and it should have the description there, because I don't think Spotify lists the individual. Apple might. I don't know enough, but I'll try and put links to everything there. But I then also saw after, and like this is only something that I saw on social media, so I was going to say, so I would need to verify it. Like, I'm not saying this is 100% fact, but it was tweeted out by, I don't know, but either way, it says it was tweeted out originally by Complex, which I'm assuming is like newspaper or something. And it said, the Ellen DeGeneres show has upgraded its perks for its staff following allegations of mistreatment. These perks are now paid time for doctor's appointments, birthdays off, and they get 5 paid days off.
5? Ooh, calm down.
I was just like, I mean, like the one that I actually then sent to my friend, someone had retweeted this and like quote tweeted it, and then they said like, well, what were the perks before this then?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So I'm hearing this and I'm like, my minimum wage job when I was 16 gave me better perks than a job on the Ellen show.
Yeah, this multi-million corporation. Like, and I mean, now you have like Nikki Tutorials kind of came out and spoke about it, how she was treated awfully.
Yeah.
And have you noticed that the only all right, laptop, can you the only celebrities that have really come out in favor of her that I've seen have been quite A-list celebrities, and so people that she probably would treat better.
Yeah, people like Ashton Kutcher like tweeting out, oh, Ellen's never been a bad person to me, and I'm like, I'm sure she hasn't been a bad person to you, Ashton Kutcher. Like when
That's
she
exactly
probably
what I was thinking of.
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, yeah, I think I don't know about you, but like I've just celebrity culture is just tires me because I just really don't care what they're I don't care about them because it's like you're probably doing all right in your multi-million dollar mansion. I it's like um and I really hate the whole culture of kind of like celebrities being like I'm just like you, and it's like you're not like me, Kim Kardashian. Fundamentally, you have access to a lot more things than I do. We are not the same.
Exactly.
And I really feel like yeah, I really feel like that veil is being pulled up at the moment, especially after Corona, like when celebrities were like posting videos of themselves like crying in like their big ass mansions and stuff, and everybody was like, well, I'm stuck in a semi-detached house with all of my 5 family members, and none of us can feed ourselves properly at the moment. But go off, sis. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
and I feel like Ellen has been the poster woman again, as she does for most problematic things. She's been the poster woman for that. So at least she's got that going for her at the moment.
I think I saw that someone else was going to take over as the host of the show, and I was like, but it's called the Ellen Show. Just cancel it.
Yeah, maybe they just get like every week they just get a random person called Ellen off the street.
Oh my God, that is the genius idea.
Honestly, like it'd be better than the actual Ellen show. Just random people called Ellen just talking. I would watch. I would watch. Yeah, I'm not. Have you seen like? Because I've watched clips of the Ellen show, and it's not even the fact that I mean I do dislike her, but it's just difficult to get through.
It's like, so you can tell that it's uncomfortable, and like you watch something like Jimmy Fallon, and you're like, oh, he probably went backstage and met them before. Like I know that sometimes his laugh seems a bit fake or whatever, but
it feels comfortable. Like it feels like that the celebrity that they're talking to wants to be there. It feels like a hostage situation with the Ellen show.
It really does. Like, have you seen the interview where she's speaking to I'm not going to remember her name now. The one who was in 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh Christ, what's her name? Hold on, let me look it up.
I have the name in my head, but I think it's the wrong name.
She's in a film on Netflix called Peanut Butter Falcon, and that is a wonderful film. She's so good in it. It'd be good if I can remember her name. Hold on. 50 Shades
of Grey.
Of Grey. That's a terrible film. But terrible book, terrible film. Terrible portrayal of BDSM. I could go on. Actors. Dakota Johnson.
Oh my God, I was going to say Dakota Johnson, but then I was like, is that the one from Twilight? But I think that's Dakota Fanning.
Oh, okay, right.
But either way,
yeah.
She did an interview with Dakota Johnson. I think it was fairly recently, and she was like, "Why didn't you invite me to a birthday party? Like you had a party and I wasn't invited." Which, like, first of all, like, I would never even ask that someone. Like, maybe if it was my best friend and they didn't invite me, and I'd be like, that's a bit weird. But I'd never done publicly on live.
Yeah.
And then
on international television, yeah.
I know. And the girl was kind of turned around and she was like, I did invite you though. And Ellen was like, no, you didn't. And she was like, yes, I did. You declined my, like, ask anyone here. I invited you and you never showed up.
Oh, no. No. How would you not die of the embarrassment? Why would you even ask that question on international television? I think that Ellen just, like, she gets off on just making her guest stars uncomfortable.
I know.
Because it's good television.
The fact that Mariah Carey announced her pregnancy before she was ready, and then she had a miscarriage because she had to tell everyone that she lost it.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was so that was awful. Yeah, no, and like stuff like that. Just I'm really glad that it's like the veil of kind of like celebrity culture is starting to come down, because like I just don't care about them. That's about as much as I have to say.
The only celebrities that I really care about are like musicians. If that, like, you know, because I feel like you get to know them a bit through their music, whereas like actors and stuff, like, you know, you never see them really unless you watch an interview. It's always them as a character.
Yeah, I think I think it's maybe
can't be completely different than the music that they write.
Yeah. I think definitely around like singing and stuff, or pop stars and stan culture. I mean, stan culture can become very toxic and everything, but I think also like a lot of people find comfort in like in like the communities of stan culture and everything like that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, personally, it's not for me, just because I'm just really not big on kind of like celebrity culture and stuff. But also K-pop stans flooding the All Lives Matter tag with just like K-pop fan cams is absolutely iconic. So I can't fault them.
Oh, I have so much respect for K-pop stars. Like they do scare me. They scare me for sure.
Yeah, of course. But you know.
And the fact that they bought out all those, like with the TikTokers, all those tickets to the Trump rallies.
I know, so iconic. It's just like I love like Gen Z activism like that, because it's it literally is activism.
It really is, and it's the smartest way to do it in the middle of a pandemic as well.
Yeah, literally, I have only respect. They're braver than any US Marine, whatever the fuck that fucking meme is. But I have so much respect for like that kind of activism. Because it was difficult during the pandemic to kind of like, because obviously people couldn't get out of their houses and stuff. So proud.
Very proud.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Have you ever been involved with like stan culture and stuff like that? One Direction. I'm remembering the One Direction years.
Say, like, if anything, it would have been One Direction, but like, yes, I was a massive fan of them, but I was never really like part of a Twitter community or like any kind of social media where I was in group, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It was more like reading fan fiction on Wattpad kind of thing.
Yeah, like I would enjoy their music. I would talk about them with my friends who liked their music. We would enjoy it together, but I would like I followed them all on social media and everything because I liked but I wouldn't say it was part of the stan community or anything for them. I wasn't one of the people who was going to try and leak their songs and following them around the country. And
that shit's ridiculous. I can't understand how people get so wrapped up that it becomes it almost like they forget that they're real life people.
I know.
Which I think that was like something that was really relevant for some in the I remember there was like, what was it, last year with some K-pop stans, it became so overwhelming and toxic that that people were like starting, like they had to start putting restraining orders out on like fans and stuff, which is ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Can you imagine though, being that obsessive? I mean, you know, some people it's just their life.
Like, as much as I'm a fan of all these people, I genuinely don't know. If I saw Harry Styles just in London or something and he was having a nice dinner by himself, I don't know if I could bring myself up to him and interrupt him and be like, hi, can I have a picture?
Yeah, because it's like, I know you're just trying to live your life. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, maybe I would just go up and be like, hi, I know that you're having a minute to yourself. I just wanted to tell you what a positive impact you've had on my life. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, you're also going to slip in that Harry Styles is one of the most attractive men alive as well, but you know.
True.
I swear to God, if any man like grows his hair out and starts painting his nails, that's it. That's it.
I'm so here for men painting nails. I love it.
I'm so glad it's such a trend at the moment.
Yeah, let's never get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, I painted my nails black at the moment. They're really chipped, but I really feels like I'm living a best life with painted nails.
Mine are bright orange. They're also chipped, but
Queen.
Yeah.
Queen of bright orange chip nails.
Love it. Anyway, we're running out of time.
Yes.
So I'll wrap this up. Thank you everyone for listening. If you like this episode, I mean, I'm definitely going to have you on another one, Megan. I feel like we didn't even go through half the things we were going to talk about.
I know.
It's just the way it goes. So if you like this, an eventual part 2. Follow us on Instagram. It's at the Average Fem Pod. If you want to message us, you can message us there, or if you prefer to email, it's theaveragefeministpodcast@gmail.com. Go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you're listening, but particularly YouTube, because I can see the number of subscribers there and I need validation. And I think that's everything. So thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Bye.